One of the most underrated areas where the Eagles improved this offseason, the special teams. Specifically, the kick returner and the punt returner. This year is the return of the returner. Well, hello friends, Mark Holmes.
I'm a grown-ass man. See, I'm a grown-ass man. Grown-ass man.
Hey everybody, King Dingbat here. I'm in my garage with a cigar. It's only a candy cigar because my wife won't let me smoke one after I put that big fat head up in our bedroom.
Let's get rid of that. At this point, I'd be happy for Dak to be playing for somebody else. And my team stinks. I agree. Stinks.
They laugh about us. We're a disgrace. We suck.
I am now Philly 500's bitch.
Dallas still stinks. Yo, everybody doing? King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. I hope you guys are doing well. You know, one of the most underrated, under-talked about, underreported, underlooked areas in which the Philadelphia Eagles got better this offseason is on special teams. It's on special teams. Now, I did a whole video on this yesterday, a whole different video on this in my channel membership, but I thought I would come on and talk to you guys about it, give you my thoughts on it, because I think it's a very underlooked, under-talked about thing that the Eagles did in improving their special teams. So I kind of want to go over that with you guys right now. Now, I'm not talking about punt coverage or kickoff coverage. I'm talking about the return game, the punt return game and the kickoff return game, because this is an area where the Eagles over the last few years have not been very good. They haven't had guys that get touchdowns. They haven't had guys that have great punt returns or kick returns. We did see a good kickoff return by Miles Sanders versus Green Bay last year. Really changed the way that game had started out and gave the Eagles some momentum. And that's what special teams can do for you, especially a kickoff game, the punt return game. It can win you games. It can win you divisions. It can win you home field advantage. Okay, it can be a very sneaky, important way to pull off wins and to get more W's. Think about this. Brian Westbrook versus the New York Giants. I forget exactly which year it was because I'm getting old. But Brian Westbrook and the Eagles, I believe the Eagles were 1-2 at the time. And season's on the line. They're playing a horrible game versus the Giants. Fourth quarter, Eagles are down. The Giants punt it. One bounce, Brian Westbrook gets the ball, starts running, boom, pop, 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 boom, touchdown. Eagles win. They win the game, changed their whole season, the whole trajectory of their season. They went on a roll after that game. That kickoff, that punt return for a touchdown by Westbrook, that was what people said turned their season around. Think about the Deshaun Jackson punt return versus the New York Giants. I mean, they were down big. They come back. That game's about to go in overtime. He runs it back with no time. Eagles win. Eagles, I think they clinched a division, and then they blew the whole Minnesota game, which they were headed for a bye week. However, it was a big moment for the Eagles. I think that getting a couple punt returns, good field position, those kind of things from kickoffs and punt returns can change your whole season. It can be the difference between winning the division and losing it, winning the conference and losing it, getting a bye week and not. Okay? If you have a good return game, you can literally, I think it could give you easy 1 to 2 extra games or extra wins in a season. And the Eagles haven't had that in a long time. The last punt returns that they had for touchdowns was 2015. Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles had 2 touchdowns in 2015. One was against the New York Jets, and there was another one, if you remember, the New England game, where the Eagles go into New England. They're already winning. It's I think late third quarter, and they're up like 20, 21, 14, something like that. And he runs one back for a touchdown. That was the last time the Eagles had a punt return for a touchdown. 2015. we're going into the 2020 season. Then they haven't had a kickoff return for a touchdown since 2016, when they got one from Wendell Smallwood against the Redskins, which to me was Wendell Smallwood's best play ever for the Philadelphia Eagles. That was his high moment. That was his high point, okay? And then we had one a week later, where Josh Huff runs one back against the Minnesota Vikings. He would go on to get cut because he would have guns and drugs or whatever in his car, and the Eagles wind up cutting him. But that was it. The Eagles haven't had a kickoff return for a touchdown, a punt return for a touchdown since then. That's a long time. That's a long time. That's too long of a time, okay? And I'll say this, not even have they gotten touchdowns from kickoff and punt returns, but when's the last time you see them get good yardage in a return, where you see them flip the side of the field because of a good punt return or something like that? It's been very bad over the last 3 or 4 years. It's been bad, okay? The Eagles under Doug Peterson have never had a punt return for a touchdown, okay? So I think that has hurt the Eagles, and I think this is the year all that's going to change. All of it's going to change, because I think the Eagles, with Jalen Reagor and the addition of Jalen Reagor, he can be a dynamic punt returner in the NFL. I have no doubt. At the very bottom floor of Jalen Reagor, he's at least a dynamic punt returner. And he's going to be the guy returning punts this year. And I think you're going to be good for 1 to 2 touchdowns this year. Not only that, he's going to flip the field many times, which could be the difference in a game for this Eagles team. No question about it. And he's not the only guy that can do it. Of course, if you're in a playoff situation and it's fourth quarter, you want to put Deshaun Jackson back there, you could do that. I get it. But I don't think you'll need to, because I think Reagor will be able to do it. John Hightower, he can do kickoff returns. Miles Sanders can do kickoff returns, although you may see him not do that as much because of who he is now and what he means to the team. But I think a guy like Jalen Reagor dramatically improves the Eagles' return game. And this is one of those things that could give the Eagles an extra win or 2 on the season. So if you think the Eagles are a 9-7 team, this could get them to 11-5. If you think they're a 10-6 team, this could get them to 12-4. I think it's going to mean that much, and I think it's a very underrated position that the Eagles have. People don't talk about it. People are not talking about the special teams and the return game, because we kind of overlook it sometimes until you need it, until it works for you, until it saves your season, until it flips a game, until you're down in the fourth quarter and maybe you run it back to their 30-yard line from your 20-yard line, and all of a sudden you're in business. It's a big deal, and the Eagles haven't had that in a long time. And when we talk about the Eagles improving on offense, improving on defense, I feel like they did. But to say on special teams that this team is a lot different, it's huge for us. It's huge. It's going to be a huge deal for us. And I expect big things from Jalen Reagor, in the return game. And anybody else that, I don't know what Quez Watkins can do and stuff like that. I just know Jalen Reagor can return punts. And I know that he's a dynamic punt returner, and he will be in the NFL. So I think this is a very exciting thing for the Eagles. This will help the Eagles win a division and hopefully get in a position where they could get a good seed, hopefully. But I think it's a big deal. I think the Eagles they're much improved on special teams. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat.